TSC Youth, guys, man, we are fired up to be with you tonight. We miss you guys. We love you guys. We got Shockley here in his coat of many colors right here that he's wearing tonight. I got Miss Kayla Hack in the house, and we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to go back and forth a little bit from the message to worship. And just know this, guys, man, we love you. We care about you. We miss you. We want to hear from you. Text us, reach out to us, whatever. DM us on Instagram. Can't wait till we finally can be back together again. And just so you know, we got some big announcements coming up very, very soon. And so make sure you're tuning in. Make sure you're watching. But tonight, we're going to dive into the Word and kind of what we're talking about tonight. And Shockley, this might mess up your strumming a little bit. You know this song. I may have you sing it or I may just sing it. But many of you know a famous song, Don't Stop Believing, right? Don't stop believing. Just hold on to that feeling. Woo, son, that was strong right there. You better watch it. I might take your job. We might switch it out tonight. But don't stop believing, right? You know that song. You've heard about that song. We talk about that song at times. But belief is something we all know about. But I think if we're honest, belief sometimes is really hard for us. And tonight we're going to look at a story in Mark chapter 9. If you want to go ahead and flip open your Bible to Mark chapter 9, where we come upon a moment where the disciples are struggling with belief, and not only the disciples, but then there's a man whose son has been possessed by an evil spirit, a demonic spirit, and the disciples are trying to cast it out. They can't, and Jesus is frustrated. He's thinking, man, oh, you unbelieving generation, what's wrong? And then the man says, hey, Jesus, if you can, just cast this spirit out. And Jesus replies with, if I can, everything is possible for him who believes. And then the man replies with, Lord, help my unbelief. I believe you can. And in that moment, then Jesus cast out the spirit. But there's this perfect picture, I think, of even our lives. Of, Lord, help my unbelief. I believe you can, but Lord, help my unbelief. And tonight, we're going to unpack this a little bit. And we're going to look at, do you really believe? And if you really believe, to what extent do you believe? What is our belief like? How much faith do we have? And just to start in tonight, we're not going to sing Don't Stop Believing by Journey. We're going to sing a chorus real quickly. Shockley's going to sing it, and Kayla, and we'll come back to it at the end. But just to kind of get us rolling, a song that talks along those very lines. And so I'm going to pray, and I'm going to ask you just right where you're at, just to bow your head and close your eyes, and right where you are. If you used to come with us on Wednesday nights, you know that this is the way I start all the time. I want you to just take a deep breath. I don't know what today's been like for you. I don't know what yesterday was like or tomorrow's like. But right where you're at, just take a deep breath and say, God, tonight, would you speak to me? I'm listening. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen.
I may be weak, and I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. And I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, my God, you never will. Give me faith, give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good, your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give you my life.
Let's dive back into this just real quickly. As I told you, that Jesus' response to the disciples was, "O unbelieving generation." He says, "How long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." And then the man's father, remember, he comes up to him and he says, "But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." And Jesus replies, "If you can, everything is possible for him who believes." Tonight I want to tell you guys that anything is possible for him who believes. Even more, don't stop believing that God can do the impossible. Don't stop believing that God can do the impossible. And honestly, if we're honest tonight, do we really believe that God can do the impossible? And let me ask it this way to you. Do you really believe when you read the scriptures, when you look at the life of Jesus, when you look at the life of what Jesus did, and how he walked upon this earth, or even if you go to the Old Testament, you look at the stories of God, do you really believe that our God is the one who parted the Red Sea so that the children of Israel could walk across on dry land? Do you really believe that our God is the God that shut the mouths of lions so that Daniel wouldn't be eaten alive in the lion's den by lions? Do you really believe that our God is the God that said, hey, if you march around the walls of Jericho this many times, and on this time, if you blow the trumpets, the walls will fall down, and the walls came tumbling down? Do you really believe our God did that? Do you really believe that our Jesus we believe in walked on water? Do you really believe that our Jesus that we call upon, that we pray to, that we sing to, that we call out to, is the one who made the blind see and the crippled walk? Do you really believe that the Jesus that we talk about rose from the dead and in that moment defeated death, sin, and shame forever? Or if you're honest, at times, do you really not believe in that such a way? Because if we believe that kind of way, if we believe our God can do those type of things, I don't know about you guys, but that changes everything, about everything. All of a sudden, we're believing our God can do the impossible, that there is nothing our God can't do, that there's nothing our God can't accomplish, there's nothing he can't help us overcome or help us get through, or nothing, no circumstance, no problem in our life that he can't take away or change. But here's the struggle with that tonight. Oftentimes, and even if I'm honest in my own life, it is really hard to believe that at times. It's really hard that God can change a situation that you've been in. It's really hard to believe that God can bring healing. It's really hard to believe sometimes that God can help you overcome something. It's really hard to believe that God can still work those kinds of miracles. And let's just look at this man for a minute. Look back at what Jesus asked the boy's father. I think this is interesting. It says in verse 21, Jesus asked the boy's father, how long has he been like this? Now, here's what's interesting about this. Jesus said, how long has he been like this? I mean, we know Jesus knew the answer to that question. He already knew the answer. Jesus knows everything. He knew how long that boy had been like that. But I think Jesus is asking because he's trying to get something out of that man. He's trying for that man to bring up everything that he's been through, everything that he's walked through, and really to admit how long this has been and how he's really feeling in this moment. Listen to what the man says. From childhood, he answered, it has often thrown him into fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. In this moment, I feel like this man is saying, it's been this way forever, as long as we can remember. It's always been this way. It's tried to kill him. It's tried to throw him in fire. It's tried to throw him in water. It's tried to kill him. I say that because tonight maybe you're saying, Sam, all this is great about believing in God and believing for him to do great things and believing in him to do mighty things, but you don't understand. This situation that I'm in, this thing that I'm walking through, this barrier in my life, it's been this way forever, as long as I can remember. It's tried to kill me at times. It's wearing me out. It's weighing me down. It's always been like this. And even more, let me just speak directly to some people tonight. Maybe before in your life, man, you've prayed and you've prayed and you've prayed and you've prayed and nothing has happened. Nothing's come through. And you either don't believe as much as you once did, or you're having a hard time believing because of something that happened in your life. And can I say this? I've been there before. When I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for my dad to get healed of cancer and he died, I just began to think, what's the point? Why are we believing in this? Can God really do this? Why does this even happen? I want to give you just a couple things with that real quickly. Either one, God had a greater plan at play because God knows all things and he has a plan that we can't understand or imagine. And so he had something else in mind, something else in store. You say, well, you know, how does that work? I mean, even think of this. Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane is praying to God that he doesn't have to go to the cross. He's saying, Lord, if there is another way, please make it happen. But there was no other way. And Jesus went to the cross for us. And sometimes in our life, I think we're praying, God, if there's another way, would you make it happen? God, would you bring healing here? God, would you change this? God, would you do something here? And sometimes it doesn't happen the way that we want to. Let me just say this tonight, and this is going to be hard for some of you to take. God always answers a prayer. Sometimes it's just not the way that we wanted him to. He always answers a prayer. Sometimes it's just not the way we wanted him to. But we've got to trust him. We've got to hold on to him. We've got to walk with him through that time because we never know how he's working it, how he's doing something in our life for something greater to further his glory down the road one day. But there's also another group here today. There's a group that's been praying and been praying and been praying and been praying, and it's not gone yet. And you're ready to give up. You're ready to throw in the towel. You're ready to stop believing. And what I want to tell you real quickly is, again, what if this man, again, he said, if you can, Jesus says, everything is possible for him who believes. And then immediately the boy's father, the guy who's new, it's always been this way. It's thrown him in the fire. It's thrown him in the water. He cries out, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. The good thing about today is God can help you overcome your doubts. He can help you overcome sometimes, always our unbelief. And he can take it if you tell him, God, I'm struggling to believe in this moment. Help me overcome my unbelief. He can give you that gift. He can help us believe even when we can't find the strength to believe, right? Because he's the one who gives you the gift to believe in the first place. And even more, when the man cries out, here's the cool thing. What if the man just said, oh, I'm done. Jesus can't really do it. Let me just walk off. Oh, it was a good attempt, but when Jesus said, if you can, and I didn't cry out, I just kind of walked off. He would have missed out on what God had for his son. And what we know next happens is Jesus cast that evil spirit out, and it was gone. And his boy was brought healing, and his boy was brought a new life. Let me ask you this question. What might we be missing out on? What might we be not receiving because we stopped believing? What might we be not receiving because we stopped believing? And I'm telling you right now, whatever situation you're in, God can change it. God can work the impossible. God can still work miracles. Don't stop crying out. Don't stop believing. Don't stop falling on your knees. Don't stop crying out in worship. Don't stop going to him. Keep believing. Keep going to him. And you never know. God just might be waiting to move in a mighty way in your life or that person's life or that situation in your life. But if you stop, you'll never know. And this boy, man, if his father would have stopped, it would have been over. It would have been it. And let me just close with this. If you flip down to verse 29. After this happens, the disciples come to him. They said after Jesus had gone indoors, the disciples come up to him and they asked him privately, why couldn't we drive it out? He replied, this kind can come out only by prayer. Let me just tell you this tonight. When we talk about belief, when we talk about all these things, you can't do anything. Only God can. The place where you need to fall is on your knees. So often I think we think, man, if I can do this, I can change this, I can work this out, I can do this myself. In my own strength, I can change this. I can make all this happen. We can't do a thing. It can come out only by prayer. The only thing you need to do is fall at the feet of Jesus, go to the cross of Jesus Christ, cry out to him to do a mighty work and to do the things that you can't. And really it makes so much more sense because he's got way more power, way more might, way more strength, way more ability, can do way more than we ever could do. And let me say this before we sing another song. And here, just let me throw this out here too. I know sometimes it's hard to believe. I know sometimes you're thinking, I'm trying, I'm doing this, and it's just not working. Don't give up. Don't give up. And text Pastor Joe, text me, text someone else. We want to walk with you through this. But so often I think, Pastor Joe, can you help me out? I think we put God in a box. And we don't always do it on purpose, but we come and we think, man, our God is a great God. He's a mighty God. He's a powerful God. And God's great. And he can do a lot of things in my life, but he can't really do this. He can't change this. He can't change what I'm in right now. And without even meaning to, we put God in a box that's this small when he's so much more mighty, so much more powerful than this. And all of a sudden, we put him in a box where he's limited and he can't change the impossible. He can't work the miracles. He can't do the things that he can do. And now he's a lot smaller than he should be. You know what you need to do tonight? You need to throw the box out. And then there's others of us that we say, well, God could do that thing, that small thing, but he can't do maybe this bigger thing. And we put him in another box. He could do that, but I don't know if he can actually do this. And we put him in this box. But then again, he's limited. There's only so much he can do. There's only so much he can handle. There's only so much he can change. There's only so much he can take. And again, we need to take the box and we just need to throw it out. And then maybe we Maybe some of us, man, we're believing for bigger things, and so we get a little bit bigger, and we think, man, God can do a lot. God can change my life. God can change my family. God can change all these things, but He can't change my school. He can't change my world. He can't change everything. And again, we put Him in a box that's bigger, but He's still not big enough. And really tonight, too, we need to take the box again, and we just need to throw it out. And here's why I'm saying this. Our God is so big that He can handle anything that you're walking through. He's mighty. He got up out of the grave. He defeated death. He defeated sin. He defeated everything. He walked on water. He worked miracles over and over and over again. Stop limiting your God to little things in life and realize that He's big enough to handle and do anything. He's big enough to change your school. He's big enough to change your family. He's big enough to heal your loved one who's sick or hurting or going through things. He's big enough to change the entire world. And I know right now there's people saying, this dude has lost his mind. But hey, as I tell people all along, if I got to be crazy, let me be crazy trying to do something big for Jesus Christ. I'm just at that point. I don't want to limit God. I don't want to say we have a small God. I don't want to think, hey, this is all God can do, and look back one day and say, man, I missed out because I had a God who could do anything, yet I only went for the little things in life. I found, as I was finding those boxes earlier, I found this card right here, if you can see it. It's Back to School Bash. And this Back to School Bash card was the first Back to School Bash I was ever a part of here. And not long ago, but when I came down here, you know, I was a 23-year-old moron, and now I'm just a 25-year-old moron. What about that, Shockley? And with that Back to School Bash, I just remember when I came here, you know, just believing God can do great things. God can do mighty things. Like we're not going to be limited by what people say or what people think. We're just going to go for it for the kingdom of God. I remember how God worked that night and did a mighty work. But even since then, if we're honest, sometimes we can get in this routine where all of a sudden we believed these things at one time, but then later it's thinking, well, what can He do now? And what's He going to do now? And what's going to happen now? I want to go back to when it's just like, I didn't even know any better. I just believed God for great things. I just believed God for mighty things. I just believed He would do incredible things. And even my own life, I want to come back to that, to say, God, I'm willing to do crazy things for Your name because I'm believing mighty things in Your name. Let me tell you this, as a ministry, when it comes to this coronavirus, for me, it's convicting sometimes. Sometimes I'm thinking, man, God, I want to believe You that we're going to come out stronger. I want to believe You that we're going to come out greater on the other end. But right now, it's unclear. But you know what God's reminding me of just right now? That He's mighty enough to do more work in our ministry than He's ever done before in these few months. That He's big enough to do all kinds of things that we couldn't imagine or explain in these few months that we could never have imagined or seen beforehand. And let me tell you something. He's big enough if we just believe and call upon Him to do things that we would have wished to see Him do when we could meet every single week together. So I'm going to challenge you as we sing this next song. Maybe you want to sing it. Maybe you want to pray. I don't know where you're at. But this song talks about give me faith. Help us believe. Help us trust even when it's hard to believe. And a lot of times I think this song is an anthem of our life because it's hard at times. And I'm not underestimating that. So sing it, pray, whatever you want to do as they lead us again.
I need You. I need You to soften my heart and break me apart. I need You to pierce through the dark and cleanse every part of me. All I am, I surrender. Give me faith to trust what You say, that You're good, Your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give You my life. may be weak, but your Spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. I may be weak, but your Spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, my God, you never will. And I may be weak, but your Spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, my God, you never will. Give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good, your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give you my life. I may be weak, I may be weak, your Spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, my God, you never will. I may be weak, but your Spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, my God, you never will.
Hey guys, think about this as you go throughout the week this week, that you serve the God who holds the whole world in his hands. So go believing that he can do great things, and he can do great things, and he will do great things. And even more, I want you to know tonight that he wants to do big things through your life. And so we love you guys. We miss you guys. We'll see you guys soon. And again, like I said, we got big announcements coming soon, so stay tuned. Love you guys. See you later.